Welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about sci-fi, superheroes, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious. We will be talking about theatrical films and streaming delights you care about most. And tonight we are finally reviewing F9, the Fast Saga, also known as Fast and the Furious 9, and that POS that's in the theaters right now. No. No, I'm not gonna, not spoil anything. No, it's this is gonna be a fun review, to tell you the truth. This is gonna be fun. Joining me tonight is my very special friend and co-host, Paul Cardullo. Paul, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Doc. We're not friends. We're family.
Family. It's all about family. Yeah, well, we are a few weeks late for this, but things happen. But what we're going to do is we're going to give our first impressions for F9, and then we're going to discuss it a little bit. The first impressions will be spoiler free, so don't worry about it if you haven't seen it. And then we'll deep dive into this as far as we want to go, and we will get into spoilers there because, hey, the actual description has a spoiler in it if you didn't already know, and we'll get to that here in a second. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Are you ready to do this, Paul? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right,
let's do this. I'm sure I do, but I can't.
The film is F9, the Fast Saga. Saga. Available in theaters beginning June 25th, 2021. Directed by Justin Lin, returning to the series. Written by Alfredo Batello, Justin Lin, and Daniel Casey. The cast includes, but is not limited to, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Tyrese Gibson, Chris Ludacris Bridges, Natalie Emmanuel, Charlize Theron, John Cena, Sung Kang, Anna Sawai, Helen Mirren, Kurt Russell, Lucas Black is back. Yes, and here comes the spoiler number 1. Cipher enlists the help of Jakob, Dom's younger brother. Yeah, the trailers did that years ago. To take revenge on Dom and his team. Okay, so let's get a couple things out of the way. I have become a huge fan of Fast and Furious. I did not like the first 3 or 4. I know I saw the first one. I can't tell you if I saw the second one or the third one or the fourth one, but with the 5th one, I became a fan and have loved each and every one. That doesn't mean I think they're good movies. It just means that I like it. And I do love these movies. I love the characters. I love the absurdity to it. I love the over-the-topness of it. Just doing the craziest things with cars as you possibly can. And the characters. And, we made fun of it at the beginning of this, but the message about family actually is a very good message and is a welcome one, and I will take it. Paul, are you a fan of these series? When did you start watching the Fast and Furious?
I blame you completely. I think, was it 6 or 7 that you said to me, "Oh, it's coming out." I'm like, I don't want to watch that. And you're like, "No, you got to watch them." I'm like, he said, "Well, you don't have to. You can skip these." You gave me a couple to skip. You said, "You got to watch the first one, and then you watch." I think you had me skip Tokyo Drift, and then which later turns out,
yeah.
So so I think we came in and I caught up. And I was like, okay, these are fun. And then we went and saw 7, and it was like, oh my god, and 8, and now 9, and so yeah, I blame you completely. And recently, yes. I showed my family the first one. They're like, "This is ridiculous. It's great." I said, "Oh, you have no idea."
Oh my gosh,
they all know to blame you.
So yeah, it's been, God, it feels like 2 decades. Is it?
Oh,
2 decades. 2 decades of this.
19 years, I think, actually.
19 years, and I think everybody listening to this already knows, the backstories of all these characters and where we are.
Well, it's complicated, though. I mean, it gets
It
complicated after.
it
You know,
it, it does. I mean, because you got to know what justice for Han means in a way, right? That plays into this a little, not as much as I wanted it to, but it is there. That's another small spoiler. So, but it was again in the trailers.
See, I don't remember it being. I didn't remember that in the trailer. So I was actually like, oh,
Oh,
not
really?
surprised after having watched the series enough. But yeah,
Yeah,
so.
it's a pretty big deal. All right, so let's get into it. What was your first impression of Fast 9, or whatever this film is actually called?
Yeah, F9, I guess. Okay, it was so dumb. I could feel my IQ level dropping as I watched it. I mean, it was just like, oh, I'm getting stupider by the moment, and loved every minute of it. I had such a ball, and everyone around me in the theater had a ball. So yeah, first impression is dumb as a post, but fun as can be.
Best possible post you could possibly mention.
Best.
So I think I've described this as a stupid effing movie over and over again. It just, just to use the F9. Okay.
Yeah.
If they don't do FX and call, 10, call it XFX, never mind. We know we're getting another one. Who knows what they're going, but FX, come on. All right. It's a stupid movie, but I too am all in. I'm all in. Make it as dumb as possible. I mean, this is kind of the reason why you go to Bond movies as well. You want to see something just like the car went underwater. Holy cow! You know what I mean. The Jaws went into space. Jaws with the teeth, not the shark. But you want ridiculous, but you want it done with style and panache and and humor and it can. But you also want it to be not necessarily taking itself seriously, but but you also don't want it poking itself fun at itself.
Right, you don't want it winking too much.
And this one really gets close to doing that dishonor to itself. It gets dangerously close.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And, I mean, I guess that's the kind of thing we can kind of. Yeah.
It gets dangerously close, and that's, to me, that's the only thing out of all the absurdity that really got me kind of like, uh-oh. The rest of, I mean, there's moments in here that I think you're going to share, one that you told me that I think you need to share. But there's times in this you're just going to say, oh, come on. That's no way. But that's what you're in there for.
You'd be disappointed if you didn't.
Yeah, and it really is about topping itself every single episode. I did miss The Rock. The Rock was a welcome addition to this series.
Yeah, but I think because of behind the scenes things.
Yeah, behind the scenes. Although you never know, they might patch that up.
They might.
But okay. So we did get a Hobbs and Shaw. So in addition to the 9 movies, we also got Hobbs and Shaw, and true. I loved Hobbs and Shaw.
I still haven't seen it. Believe it.
Oh my God, you need to see Hobbs and Shaw.
I know. I need to. But I have seen Better Luck Tomorrow. Have you seen that? That is
no.
Justin Lin's first film, and one of the secondary characters in there is Han, and they have confirmed that is Han.
That's the same Han?
It's the same Han.
Oh.
It's about them being in high school, and it's really good. It's quite a different film. And for years, people were like, "Come, is Han in that?" Because it's the same actor and everything. Is Han in that the same Han from Fast and Furious? And they finally said, yes, it is. It's canon now. So that's actually like a prequel.
I did not know that. So that's amazing.
It's on, I can't remember. It might be on like Tubi or one of those, or Hulu. So yeah. Better Luck Tomorrow. Justin Lin's first.
Better Luck Tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. I'll look it up. So my first impression is it's still Fast and Furious, and I still had a ball. And yes, it's about family. And yes, none of this stuff could ever. Physics is not a thing, even though they mentioned physics. Physics is not a thing in this thing. But you want to see a car swinging on a vine like Tarzan. That's what you want to see. That's what you get. What else can I say? It's a dumb movie, and I loved it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's again, that's what you go for. You go for the over. You can't even really call them stunts because there are real
There,
stunts in there, but there's so much that is clearly, digital, right? I
yeah.
mean,
Well, there has to be in this one.
there
There
has
has
to
to be.
be. Are we in spoiler territory yet?
We are now in spoiler. So spoiler warning
Okay,
is up,
yeah.
and
Woot, woot.
we yeah. Bloop, bloop.
There's lots of cars.
There are there's lots of now there always is, you know, cars racing along, cars jumping, flying out. You know, they really do destroy a lot of cars and crash a lot of cars. But okay, for years the gag has been, when are they going to go to space? And they do that. They
Yep.
go to space, and it is the best thing ever. If the
Following after Leprechaun and Jason,
yes, everybody goes to space, and
the gang goes to space.
I
So.
kind of loved it. The joke about the suits blowing up was even better because
They're throwing a Minion reference. You can't even like.
they did. I
Look,
forgot
there
about
are
that.
minions outside. So yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, you
I
mentioned
forgot about
that was the scene I was watching at the Alamo where it's notorious that you do not talk in the Alamo, you do not yell out in the Alamo,
Right.
and it was a pretty full theater, and uh, the scene where Dom jumps off the cliff, the car off the cliff, catches the wire from the wire bridge that's broken, and like you said, Tarzan swings and lands and keeps driving. The woman in the audience went, "Come on!" and everybody died laughing. So everyone was perfectly fine because that's exactly what you want in this film. And I mean, and that was for pretty early on too. I mean,
That was, and
yeah, it sets it up. So, but I think you were talking one part, the thing you were talking about in terms of them winking a little too hard. I think is probably one of the biggest parts is when Roman starts going, "Hey man, we're invincible, aren't we? Because we chasing this, we raced." He lists like a lot of the ridiculous stuff,
mhm.
and it's Tej and like who's the woman which character I can't remember. There were two characters he's talking to, and they start baiting him, but then they're like, "Nah, you're an idiot." But they get really close to
Yeah,
saying, "Look
Ramsey,
at all this
Ramsey.
ridiculous stuff that we do." But I don't think they quite go over that line. I mean, they were dangerously close, though.
It's about as tongue the tongue is pushed into the cheek about as far as you can without making it too much.
There's a couple like
Um,
there's another time also when I mean the fact that you have John Cena as Vin Diesel's brother, and Charlize Theron's like she was commenting on his chin. She said, "Well, I knew the Toretto line, was a mixed line. So there's obviously some Nordic in there. They're quite big. I mean, did they never really mentioned his younger brother at all? Like this is just out of nowhere, isn't it?
right, right. Now we know he's got a sister,
We
right?
know, yeah,
Because
because she
Mia
actually
is a
comes back up
sister.
in it. But yeah, it's like, wait a second, okay, that's fine. It's John Cena. And
But they
again, when I saw John Cena when I saw the trailer, I said, bet you the next film he's going to be a good guy because I think one of the few people they didn't do that with is Charlize Theron. She's one of the few times they haven't had a villain who becomes part of the family by the
well,
end.
Deckard Shaw did, right? Deckard
Yeah,
Shaw,
that's what
and
I'm
so
saying. I
did
mean, he's like,
so,
yeah.
but the other
Like
Shaw brother didn't.
if they can have Shaw be a good guy, then yeah, anything was possible. So I knew that by the end he was going to be uh, John Cena was
It
going to
was
be.
inevitable. He's a Toretto, of course, and it's
Yeah,
about family. Of course, it's all about redemption. But I thought one thing I did like was the flashbacks
oh
to the
yeah,
younger Torettos, and the way they set all that up made me was enough for me to believe that they would not mention the brother, because they basically,
oh that's true. Yeah, they
you know,
explained it enough away that he's dead to the family almost.
right,
Yeah,
and the same way, and of course he went underground and was, they really worked hard to make it a believable circumstance.
for a movie that has a lot of unbelievable things happen in it, yeah, they did set that up well. What's interesting is I had just watched the first one again with my family, and that's the story. I mean, that story is what Dom tells Paul Walker in the very first film about his dad dying in watching him die and burn up after he hits the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting that they showed it, but it's also interesting considering what happened with Paul Walker
Yeah,
that
well,
they would
that's true.
would go there, because that is essentially what happened with him. And so I'm surprised they maybe that was cathartic for them. I mean, this is making put a little bit much into Fast and the Furious movie, but maybe it was cathartic in terms of having that be in the film. But yeah, I mean, that actually is the story that is told, so it's neat. They didn't do any retconning there, which I think was pretty cool.
Right, right. And I don't know. I thought the young actors did a good job of representing, even though the size difference between the two is a little extraordinary. But
Well, he's younger. He hadn't quite hit his growth spurt yet.
apparently not. Apparently not. He went from being a foot under to a foot over.
Well, he was the little brother, and now he's bigger. So
He definitely is.
I was fine with that. I thought that was actually really good. So another interesting thing with I think the whole series is it's very clear now that death in the I wouldn't be surprised if their dad shows up. Let's put it this way, because death in the Fast and Furious verse is like death in the Buffy verse.
Or Marvel Universe, right?
Yeah. They might only be dead for a few movies or a number of movies, but they might just very well come back. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Gal Gadot shows up in another film. So
and there's been rumors. There's been rumors.
Really?
Yeah. But okay, so did you recognize Michael Rooker? I'm sure you did.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. That's when you knew that you were going to see that character again. You're like, okay, he's not just going to be in the flashback because it's Michael Rooker. He's got to show up.
Yep. And that was a lot of fun. I liked having him be a part of it. And there's a lot to this movie. It's not as successful as the previous selection of them. It's kind of on par or maybe slightly better than the last one, but the ones before that, the three before that are still so 5, 6, and 7 are so good. F8 is still just super stupid fun, but and these two are on par, I think, with each other.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I wouldn't call them the height of the series. Though it was funny because this one almost felt like a wrap up because it had so many cameos from people in the earlier films.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like it almost felt like, here, we're going to bring everybody back who's ever been in the films. And having seen this at the Alamo beforehand in their pre-show, they did a 9 films and 9 minutes summary.
Did they? Oh my God.
So they had to keep stopping the timer, like, okay, wait a second, time out. We have to talk about this first. And then they started back up again. So it was longer than 9. It was probably about a 15 minute thing where, so it was interesting because there's like characters you might have forgotten. You're like, oh wait, that character was in this, or was in Tokyo Drift, or was in, some of the really early films. So yeah, it felt like almost like hey, this is, but we know it's not the last one.
No,
there was even talk. There was rumors. No. You did hear rumors. I mean, I think it was joking, tongue in cheek, but at this point, having a crossover with Jurassic World.
Oh my God! Wouldn't that be the best thing ever? I mean, why not?
I still say we just talked about Black Widow. Dom easily could have showed up in that because that was all about family. They even had the big tank car race. So
at that point,
easily been inserted.
They all could have. It would have been perfectly fine. That's less likely to happen. But
but my fan fiction. That's in my fan.
That's your fan fiction. That's a lot of people's fan fiction. I enjoyed Han being back. I mean, it was just welcomed, but they didn't do enough with him. I do like the story that surrounded him. I like the reason why he never contacted him. I mean, they really outdid themselves with tying it, making it, giving you enough reasons to go, okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, they made it so the most implausible things were the stunts and the all the bizarre little coincidences and people showing up and surviving. That, like you said, they did enough of the groundwork and they really put effort into making it so those things you could accept, which is neat because that's the stuff I think that would break the film. If it was way too ridiculous, I mean, it is, but you can accept the ridiculousness of the stunts, the personal things. It's like, well, I need a little more there, just a little bit more. Right. And they went that.
Yeah. So they totally explained how Han survived and then gave him a backstory.
Kind of. They're like, oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it was perfect. I thought it was perfect. We're not going to spoil the exact reason here.
Yeah.
But Let's
Well,
just say
yeah, I mean, it was good enough. Yeah.
it was like, well, of course,
Yeah.
that's how it happened. It was right in front of her face all along. Of course, makes perfect sense. But I love the backstory with the young girl that he is protecting
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
kind of adopts in a way because it's all about family and he that
Yeah.
was and she made a great addition to the she kind of made the girl group, right? Because now
Oh,
we've
yeah.
got enough of the females there to do the female version, which I would watch a female version of this, led by Michelle
Oh, yeah.
Rodriguez in the group. It would be fine.
I could see it.
Um,
Yes, as some of the
It'd be
spin-offs.
great.
Yeah.
It'd be great. I'd love to see a John Cena movie, even or Cipher. They're talking about a Cipher movie.
Oh, really?
Sure, sure. Let's do a Cipher movie. Helen Mirren, let's do one. She's
Oh,
funny.
she was fun. I mean, that was not much more than really an extended cameo, but super fun though.
Yep.
She was really fun in this.
And there's got to be more of the Shaws around somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Yeah, you can do a whole
There's
Shaw
got to be
spin-off.
more Shaws.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly, it's more than just Deckard and the other one. So, well, there's
Yeah, his brother.
there's a sister. There's a sister too, right? So
Was there?
that well, you haven't seen Hobbs Shaw, so
Oh,
you don't know.
whoop.
Uh,
Put that on the list.
there's got to be more. There's got to be more. More Shaws. We could just bring in more people as
Yeah.
Shaws or Torettos or whatever. All right, so we are going into Crazy Town.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and
So
wrap this.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just keep going. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, if you're watching this, we want to thank you for joining us. We hope you're enjoying not only this review, but many other reviews that we have on the site. Here at Heroes and Droids, we do the theatrical movies like this, the big fancy ones, but we also cover a lot of things on Disney Plus. We're doing Loki and the Bad Batch right now, where we did all the Marvel ones, including WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and of course we did Mandalorian, and we will continue doing that. We have some crazy stuff lined up there, and this is a part of it as well. And Paul, you joined us to do Black Widow, for example,
Yep.
and we hope to see you on many future episodes. As
hope you do
the
that.
theaters are now back open, and we get you get to go to Alamo, I go to AMC. We'll throw those out there. Neither one of them are sponsors, but if they want to. If they're, hey, we're here. We're here. But if you want to help support us, you can do so very easily, and it's free. Hit the subscribe button or share with a friend. It would do wonders. And leave some comments down below. We'd love to hear what you think. Paul, what is your final thoughts? Your score 1 to 5, and your favorite scene.
Well, it was. They don't really use celluloid anymore, but I'd say it's like a celluloid lobotomy. And I just felt dumber at watching it and loved it. And I'd go back and watch it again. I mean, I went home. I think I showed you. I went home like, hey, look, they have the first 8 films on Blu-ray a pack for $50, and it comes with the digital copies as well. So I had to run out and get that.
You went and bought all 8 copies.
I bought all 8, and my
well,
wife,
congratulations, sir.
why? I'm like, because I had to. She's like, no. She just shook her head. But it's because it ruined my mind and made me go do that. But it really fun. Favorite scene. Goodness, there's so many fun ones. I mean, there is the Tarzan swing, but I think actually it's one of the stupid the more stupid ones is there. We didn't mention the magnets. And
oh my God!
Racing with the magnets in the cars, and they use the magnets to pull the cars to them. But then they reverse the polarity of the magnets, and the magnets push the cars away. It's like that's not how magnets work. It's it's not gonna unless the car itself is magnetized. No. So I love that whole sequence with the magnets and the using it to manipulate and chase.
And to pull all the cars like in the way and everything.
Oh my God. And going and trying to and flipping the big. It reminded me of the monster. Was it the monster car or from Speed Racer, the old cartoon?
Oh my.
Yeah, I can't. There was a big. Anyway, they flipped that whole. I love that part. Man, rating it. This is one of those movies. Like, how do you rate it? Because is it a good film? No, it's garbage. But did I have a ball with it? Yes. Did I love it? Yes. Did I love it as much, like you said, as some of the earlier aspects of it? No. So I would have to say, so because it's not a good film, but it's a fun film, I'm gonna put it at 3.5,
Okay,
3.5,
that's fair.
because I had a lot of fun with it. I definitely watch it. I definitely would have other people watch it. You gotta watch the series. You do really kind of have to watch the series to kind of get the full effect of it. But I loved it, and it was fun. So there you go, 3.5 for me.
Yeah, because if you hadn't seen the other ones, you might be confused by Kurt Russell just showing up for a flash.
Oh, or some of the other characters popping out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
they're just they're like, why is everybody smiling at Lucas Black? Why is that a
Yeah.
thing, right? Why does he know Toretto? Anyway, so they why are they happy when they see Han? Yeah. So you got to know some background.
Yeah.
There's also a stinger that we didn't get to
Oh, that's
mention,
true. Yeah.
and the stinger does indeed set up something.
Yeah.
It's fun and it's perfectly in character.
Oh yeah. It was pretty great. So it was funny. Somebody was walking out of theater and they stopped when it came on, and then went after. They were like, I knew it, man, I knew it." They were like yelling that in the Alamo, and everyone
Yes,
again was
yes.
fine with it because it
Yep.
just fit so well.
So yes, I absolutely love this movie. It's dumb as a box of rocks, as they say, but it's exactly what it promises to be. Right?
Yeah.
That's the one. This movie is so confident in what it is that it's almost like it doesn't even try. It is trying. I mean, they went out of their way in certain areas. Now, some of it is just like bonkers stupid, like the magnets and swinging on the vine. But okay, before that, a car jumps in off a cliff and lands in a plane. Come on, we're
Well, that was the
okay with
magnet.
all. That was the magnet, but we're okay with all this. So, I you if you don't know what you're getting into when you go into this film, you shouldn't be going to this film. I mean, it is very much for a set audience, and it appeals to that audience. And if you're the audience, you're going like us, you're going to love it. It's and when we say it's a crappy film, it is a crappy film, but it's not technically a crappy film,
Oh
right?
no, it's put
I mean,
together incredibly
it's
well.
it's I mean, the direction of this, it's just I think crappy. We don't want to say it's a stupid movie, but it's really just absurd.
Yeah, absurd.
It's absurd to the sense that you can't go in, you can't take it seriously at all.
No.
So in that respect, it's just like it is pure entertainment, and that's all it is. It just wants to entertain you. It does that perfectly. 3.75 is what I give it. I kind of want to give it more, but 3.75 I think is fair. I kind of want to give it a 4.5, but
Yeah.
3.75 is what it gets at. It's it I feel the franchise losing steam with this film.
Yeah.
And in my head, it's got one good film left. Do one more, be said and done.
I could see that. I could see
And
that
do
happening,
spin-offs. Do the spin-offs.
Spin-offs would be good. But yeah, it's getting, like I said, this one felt almost like a, hey, we're wrapping it up because of all the cameos that they had. So I could, we'll have to see. Unless again they do it at Jurassic World, then you got a whole other franchise going.
And so my favorite part, I'm going to go with the Helen Mirren car chase. I mean, there's plenty of things I could choose, but it's a shorter scene. It's a great chase. You've got Toretto and Helen Mirren, Vin Diesel and Helen Mirren together in this car. They're both using the car to say, I mean, they're working together. Yeah. They're enemies, but they're working together in this car, doing these crazy stunts, and it's amazing. And it's funny. And Helen Mirren is a ball in it. And and she's adorable. And she even has to, apologies, but highest bidder, walk on up there. I just absolutely loved it. And it's that, we get a little bit of that in every film, but this one, just because of the Shaw connection now, and she's the matriarch of the Shaws. I thought you were in prison. Well, they can't keep me there. So yes, come on, it was great. Give me more of that.
It was really fun. You had a feeling that she had a ball doing that too.
She looked like she would. Absolutely. had a ball. And there's like it's like this there's this friction between the two characters that they kept, but yet there was a really common respect that made them like allies. It was really weird in that respect, but it was still in a good way, right? I'm weird in a good way.
Like I said, it's not. I mean, when we say it's a bad film, we just because it's dumb, but it's really well done, and it's not dumb in terms of they put a lot of work into making that relationship believable, especially when you know the history of those characters. So
Yeah.
there was work there. So
Yeah. So yeah, there's our review for F9, the Fast Saga. Probably not what you were expecting, or maybe it was. Maybe because I am the Paul Abdul of the show. As they say, I love everything. I especially love this, and yeah.
well, it's like I said, I blame you. Your love of this franchise was infectious, and what made me. I plunked down money for the DVDs. It's all your fault.
You did. Holy cat's pajamas, man. All right, Paul, as always, thank you so much for bringing me. I look forward to the summer seeing the movies and hanging out with you to talk about them here on the show.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, Doc, your family. So
Family. All right, with that, let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.